Hello everybody, today we're just going to be taking a quick look at the Virharmonic Bohemian Cello. Virharmonic are becoming quite renowned just for the sheer quality of their plugins, and this is absolutely no exception. This has been one of the hallmarks of my template for coming up to a couple of months now, and do you know when you get just one of those plugins, you just get one of those sounds that you can just sit there and you can just spend hours and hours and hours noodling about on it, playing about with it, just doing absolutely nothing but sitting there pressing keys with this one plugin. This is one of those examples for me. The quality is exceptional. The pricing, it's not too steep for what you get, and its usability is just phenomenal. So without further ado, we'll just get right in and we'll start off with the interface. So as you can see here, the interface it's nothing too special. It's very minimalist. You'll see quite a fair bit of things on their website. I'll put up an image of that now, where you'll have all the articulations listed on the side. You don't get that here. There is no there's no feedback with the interface, which I see as a bit of a downside, to be honest. I would like to see on the sides, exactly what these switches here do, what these here are doing. And after quite some time using this plugin, I'm still not entirely sure. But such is the quality and the build of this library that you can just kind of forget about it. So the main selling point for this solo cello library is the AI performer, which they've lovingly designed as this bloke right here. So the way they've done this is some sort of very clever algorithm. I'm sure that somebody well more versed in the world of computer coding can shed a bit more light on how it actually works. But it's meant to detect how you're playing and correctly guess what articulations needed and so on. And for the most part, it works really, really well. But for me, what I have found with this is that just out of the box, not really knowing what these do here, it's quite limiting and it's quite unwieldy. So I'll just give you a bit of an example of how it sounds. The dynamics are controlled via velocity. However, the mod wheel and expression, so CC1 and 11, do get, they can change the volume as well. So just an example there. See there the mod wheel going up. So I'll shut up. You're not here to listen to my voice, and we will just have a little play. Okay, so the keen-eyed amongst you there will kind of know that I've cheated a little bit at the end there. As you can see, I'm pressing down. Is that D sharp 0? I've got no idea. I held that down at the end just to give it that diminuendo. If you don't do that, the cutoff could be quite jagged, I find. So it's always best to learn what these are doing and learn how you can best implement them. Ever since I've discovered that key there triggers the diminuendo, this library has just gone from a great library to one of the best. So the amount of care, detail, and just the absolute quality, and just the grade of the coding and the AI, everything about it is just so fantastic to use. It's exceptionally rewarding. What you just heard there was, and again, you will have noticed I didn't use any key switches apart from just there at the end. What you would have noticed there is the fact that this little thing in the middle of the interface was changing around. And the very clever thing with this, as I said before, it detects what you play and it changes according to the way you're playing. So I think I did a leap. I think it was to E flat up to G, and it kind of detected, okay, that's a big leap. What do cellists do with big leaps? You know, they tend to make it very emotive, very powerful, very sort of passionate. And it copied that, and it changed that. And yeah, it's phenomenal. I every single time I load up this library, I am lost for words. So in terms of practical uses, where can you expect to use this library? In terms of orchestral usage, I'm gonna be quite controversial and say I wouldn't use it for that. I don't think it fits well with orchestral music. I mean, sure, you know, you can make it stand out, but this library's got a very particular sound for me, which doesn't make it blend very well with big orchestras. I think this library is far more suited to the smaller arrangement, the smaller ensembles, cello, piano, cello and solo strings. That kind of arrangement is where this library sings best, and that is exactly where you are going to want to use it, 100%. So, okay, we'll move on to the very confusing articulations. I don't even know what they do still. This is a learning process. We're going to be learning it together. Again, no guarantees. I'm not a cellist. I have no idea what half of this stuff is. Perhaps somebody could enlighten me. We'll just have to wait and see. So we'll start off with the key switches here in green. These here, I believe, trigger the type of playing that's being used. So you've got three different options. You've got improv, which... I'm not exactly too sure what it's trying to emulate, but it's there if you need it. The next one is that word, Zardas? Again, somebody can, you know, I'm going to have an angry mob of cellists and string players forming outside my front door. But yeah, so this is kind of for the more aggressive playing, I find. So it tends to have more force behind it on this one. And my favourite one, my personal favourite one, is the emotive. So the emotive one is my personal favourite. It all comes down to preference on what type of music it is that you're going to be writing. The type of music I do tends to be more slow, contemporary, paced. So this emotive sound really lends itself. It really punches through. As for the articulations, so we'll get onto those. We'll leave it on to improv for now, so it's kind of a happy middle. So C0, what's this going to do? So this is just arc. The next one here, mid-arc. So with this one here, you can see the dynamics it tends to traverse there in the middle. So it'll start off with piano, then it'll move up to a forte. Here, play it harder, mezzo forte up to fortissimo, etc. I don't really think it goes much louder than that. You can probably hear me there hammering the keyboard just to kind of figure that out. If you play it quite gently, yeah, piano up to forte. So the next one is just sustain. So this one the AI uses quite a lot, especially if you're holding down notes. And it's fine. It's just it suffers that issue which all string libraries have, in that the rebowing isn't very rhythmic. It just kind of comes in when the sample ends. I really wish that's something that we could see more of, but I suppose it would be tremendously difficult to actually implement. It's got that lovely progressive sound to it as well. You hold down the note and it's not coming in with that vibrato immediately. It grows and it develops. It's like it sounds like an actual player. And the louder you play it, the quicker that vibrato comes in. So it really allows for this nice, smooth, softer playing, in my view. So the next one here is one that we've already showcased. This is the diminuendo. This one here is essential if you're going to be writing phrases or having this stand out as a solo instrument, which is a solo cello, of course you are. So I think you've got, it's either 2 or 3 main types of diminuendo here. So the harder one, yeah, so it goes from forte to pianissimo. Then the softer one, mezzo forte to pianissimo, and the quieter one, piano to pianissimo. And it's just lovely. You get that really soft, delicate sound, which again is something which is really, really difficult to program into more traditional string libraries. So the next one here, marcato. The next one, again, I think this one's it's on both, okay. This one tends to be kind of a bit more slidey. At least that's what I think. You got to remember here, I'm discovering quite a lot of these for the first time as well. I've only really used a select amount of these just to really kind of get in and experiment with these. It's mind blowing. I'm falling more and more in love with this library as the review goes on. So here we have F sharp 0. So what I can really appreciate about this as well, the fact that not every single note is perfect. You do get that. I hit a note before, I can't remember which one it was, and it was ever so slightly out of tune, but it gave it that really human feel. You know, it sounded like, it did sound like a real player. Real players make mistakes, and you want to capture those mistakes because it humanizes the performance. We don't always want a perfectly on pitch A equals 440 string sound, do we? No, we want it to sound real and convincing. And if that means hitting a wrong note every so often, if you're 10 cents flat on a note, that's fine. I really think more libraries should try to learn from this. Anyways, we'll move on to G0. Okay, so the F sharp and G tend to be on bows. I'm not exactly too sure what the technique is. Again, I'm not a string player. Again, perhaps somebody can enlighten me as to what it actually means, but we'll just move on. So here we have the A flat. Oh, so this is more the trill. The trills on this are excellent as well. They're just really, really well implemented, I find. So we'll move on to A. Here we have the staccatos. just I'm not a fast player, so spiccato. And lastly, we have the pizzicato. Oh, that sounds whoa! Oh, hope I didn't let go of it. Wow. I just think the room sound on that is phenomenal. Just that sound in and of itself, that can... Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Okay, so we'll now move down to the key switches down at the bottom. I'm just going to switch this back onto improv there. So am I holding the right one there? C6. So let's see what this does. Okay, so that seems to be kind of triggering some portamento. Definitely have some uses. What's this one doing? Can't really tell what that one's doing. I'll have to have a look at the guidance sheet on the website. Cool. And then we have these black keys here. Ah, right. Okay. So these black keys here tend to be, or they're trying to. Okay. So that one there is controlling the legato there. Again, all this information is readily available on the website. I do wish they would give you more feedback on the actual interface with all of these, but anyways, let's just move on to why you're here. Is this library worth the money? I would say 100% yes. It can be quite limited in its usage, but I really don't think it'll take that much to properly work around it and implement it anywhere it needs to go. The work on it is just phenomenal. The quality is amazing. It doesn't take up that much space. I think it's about 10 gig at max. One other con that I do have with this library is this UVI workstation. It's very unreliable. It's several times I've just done the backbone of a piece of work, gone to load in this plugin from the template. I've just enabled the track and it crashes when loading in all the samples. That's not an issue of Virharmonic. That's more an issue of the UVI workstation, and I do believe there are going to be a couple of patches and fixes for it soon. I'll have to see if I can try and find a link for them. I can't validate that currently, but it's speculated that that's going to be fixed sooner rather than later. So if you are thinking of getting this library and that does bother you, it's not going to be around forever. So the money, I think this currently costs around €230. If you're a student, you do get a discount on it. I think it's about 15 to 20%. Absolutely worth getting. Like I said at the onset of the video, this is one of those libraries where I can sit down and I can just play it for hours. It's detrimental to my workflow. It lessens my creative output because I'm just sat here all the time just playing around with these excessively wonderful melodies and just everything that you can create with it. Just using my my studio's not very well soundproofed. Anyhow, is this worth the money? Yes. Is the quality phenomenal? Yes. Should you go ahead and buy this right now? If you can afford it, yes. There's not really much more to say about it. So this little piece here is something that I've just improvised, just to give you an idea of how it can sound with backing. So I think the piano on this is the Olafur Arnold's Felt piano, and the cello line is just, again, it's improvised. It's not very well structured. If you want to see actual structured demos, check out the website, or just check out other people using this on YouTube, etc. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and play this. Okay, so I hope that gives you a little bit of an overview as to what you can expect with this library. I've really not spent a lot of time on that demo. This library is capable of so much more. If you just finally craft it, if you take the time to really get to know it, this library will work wonders for you, and you will make back your investment very, very quickly. If not in money, in the absolute joy of fulfillment you'll get with just playing with this library. So hats off to Virharmonic. Continue with what you're doing. The quality of what you are creating is immense. You are really, really raising the bar with this, and I can't wait to see what you bring out in future, which I believe is shortly going to be the Virharmonic Viola. Really can't wait to get my hands on that one. Anyways, everybody who's taken the time to watch to the end, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Have yourselves an excellent day, and I will see you in the next video.